This show is brought to you by Loud and Opinionated.
Here we are, April 5th. Welcome to the Loud Sports Podcast. It's just me and Jake this week. Hopefully we'll get some scheduling stuff back in order in these next few weeks, get Brandon back on. We've been kind of all over the place.
Are you okay? You seem sad.
No, it's been a rough day and a half.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was totally blindsided. Like when you're just watching, it's like when you're watching Netflix and she turns to you and says, I don't want to date you anymore. It's just like that. That was it.
Has that happened to you? Are you
No.
speaking from experience? No, but you must be referring to the AAF.
Right.
It is suspended operations. Now they say that they haven't closed down yet, but I feel like it is a done deal.
It is. They've basically, they've put it out there in a way that it seems like, well, if we can find the cash, we'll be back tomorrow. But isn't that what they did after week 2? when the hockey team owner had to step in with $250 million.
Which it's so surprising to me that this happened. How this can be completely mismanaged financially.
I got fire-fested by the AAF.
I saw that on Twitter. That's really funny. But it is true because those guys were left stranded. They didn't get any money. They're broke.
Well, I saw Johnny Manziel's tweet. It was very mature. As someone who's kind of gone through the rigors of the higher up levels of football, he said that your last game check will be the last check that they give you. Save it and plan your next career move was basically his tweet.
Man, he is really trying that apology tour, huh?
Well, that's what you got to do, especially if you're known as, some knucklehead that just doesn't do it the right way and isn't mature, a team leader in the correct way. He kind of is checking the boxes that he needs to check. We'll see. I picture him in the XFL now. We'll get to that.
Yeah. Initially, I felt it was this creeping thought in the back of my mind after what happened the second week of the season when you saw that report where, he, the owner of it's Tom something, I can't remember his last name, the owner of the Carolina Hurricanes, him swooping in like that. And the fact that in his deal, it said he could back out whenever he wanted, that to me was a nagging voice in the back of my head. Like, I don't think this is going to make it. This isn't going to happen. And so I'm not as surprised as a lot of people. I am, but I'm not, because I am surprised it went this far, but I'm also not surprised that it closed.
I'm very surprised at the abruptness, and it didn't seem like a regular rumor mill like we saw this coming. Like, dude, we knew Fred Hoiberg was going to be the Huskers coach almost 2 weeks ago, basically.
Yeah, when he was, when they saw him at
or the Jets jerseys, they have been leaked before they're unveiled. We didn't see this coming, and I think that speaks to the people on the very top level really covering up what's going on financially, because Steve Spurrier, I think he was in an interview, I think it was a call into a radio program, but he said that he was shocked, and I'm paraphrasing, but he said they were told that they could play for 3 years, paying all the players and rent for the stadiums and everything else. They could play for 3 years without being profitable, and then they might have an issue. But they would be able to have seasons of startup, and then to just pull the rug from everybody. Like you have people like Akram Wadley is just stuck in Atlanta right now. What is he supposed to do?
No, and it is shocking. And just how horribly mismanaged, like I said earlier, this whole thing. And the fact that you tell somebody like that, Steve Spurrier, that, oh, yeah, we won't make profit for 3 years, but you guys will be fine.
Well, it's not that they won't make profit for these 3 years. Maybe I'll rephrase that. Steve Spurrier had it told they had enough funds to play for 3 years without being profitable and survive.
Okay. Yeah.
But they couldn't even make it one.
But that's the thing. But my thing is, too, where these guys couldn't afford an accountant or like a financial advisor to look into this and double check. Like it is on the people that screwed them over and didn't pay them, but it should have been they should have been smarter about this.
It's like that scene in The Office with the Michael Scott Paper Company where they go to the accountant.
You're losing money.
And he says, our prices are the lowest in town. Well, your prices are actually running you out of business. They're too low. Crunch those numbers again. Crunch. Did they change it all? No, they didn't. And yeah, the quick influx of cash needed when they got the $250 million was a red flag. And it's just, well, how long is that going to last? And it really sucks for these guys that had contracts and now they don't know what they're going to do.
Yeah, and you see guys. I mean, I think anybody that played for the Orlando Apollos deserves to play on an NFL team. As good as that team has looked, I think when you're 7-1,
Anybody?
yeah,
That's like saying that everybody that was on the UCF undefeated team should be in the NFL.
yeah.
No, the 53rd guy on that team is not an NFL caliber player.
Well, here's the thing.
That's why they're playing in this league, not
I think
the NFL.
you can't ignore. Granted, we're gonna do this all day if we play by these rules of semantics of, well, he was the best player in the AAF. That means he's nobody somewhere else, or this, that, the other thing. What I was simply trying to say was, I think there's some players that I think legitimately have a shot at getting on an NFL roster. I'm not saying starter. I'm not saying the second Tom Brady or whatever. But I am saying that, hey, maybe some of these guys do get a third string or a practice squad thing.
Oh, that'll happen. Most. I don't know how many, but I'm assuming all practice squad players from every NFL team were in this league. The guys that don't have a 53-man roster contract.
Yeah,
and so they will be back in the NFL on scout teams, floating in between rosters, kind of like Joe Lanning did for the Cowboys, and then he ends up in the AAF for the spring, and who knows what he'll be doing in the fall. Guys like that, they'll be around, but they need this league because it keeps your talent pool available, because these guys then can still live off of football until they're 30 instead of having maybe 1 year of savings to get them through after their college year to try 1 year to get drafted or then seen and picked up and on a scout team. And then they have to get a real job. This gives opportunity for a more deep talent pool in the NFL. And it really sucks that we might not get that.
Yeah, but I think we should just get into it now. I think the reason why, you saw the owner make the comment about that the league won't survive if they don't have players from the NFLPA, which I think I get what he was trying to do. It was a bargaining thing, some sort of leverage, like, hey, we're making a developmental league for you, the NFL. We're trying to help you. But then the NFL could simply, and I think we talked about this last week, might have been off mic. I can't remember if we did on the show, but why would they do that? The NCAA is free. That is a free developmental league.
Right.
Because no player can leave until 3 years. I mean, you're going to see those players grow in that 3 years. Why waste the money to support these guys that already had a chance and didn't make it when you could just get some hot new Ferrari? You know what I mean?
I think sometimes you would want the more experienced, or the guy that has been 2 seasons ago, he was on the Lions practice squad, and you're going to pick him up to then learn some of the Lions things. And, he's played in the NFL, and he understands the rigors before. You can pick these guys up year-round. You can only get college guys once a year, and then they are almost, if they're not drafted and they don't get signed in the NFL over the summer and that fall, they are going to be the AAF talent.
I understand that, but I think that the NFL is not going to change how they do business because it works. It's consistently worked. Any other football league that has tried to compete with them can't. And they look, it's a capitalistic society. When you're on top, you're going to want to stay on top, and you're going to crush other companies and not care.
Right. The NFL is a legal monopoly that we have allowed.
Yeah, it's like the WWE. It's like those kind of things where you can try and make something, but they still have all that unlimited resource to bury you.
Yeah, we never talk about NFL Europe, though. That was an abject failure, and that was their development league. And they're trying to get teams.
Kurt Warner, though, he came from NFL Europe.
So But the problem
But
is,
he's a rare
it's like
case.
the NFL realizes they need a development league, but then they didn't jump. And the problem is, if the AAF could have survived until they were in direct, day-to-day, week-to-week competition with the XFL, the NFL would be forced to choose which league they would have offered subsidizing to.
Mm-hmm.
And they would have offered, because then you can see the XFL and the AAF. I really think that that's why the AAF failed. I think it failed because they weren't playing when the XFL was playing. If they would have made it and then the NFL would have chosen, maybe they choose the XFL and the AAF is debunked. But then, you still have a chance. And I feel like the NFL was just waiting. They're saying, well, we're not going to give you that chance because there is another league next year. So if there's a league next year with a better TV deal and better funding and better planning, why are we taking yours because you were the first to fail? I totally understand that. It makes me super depressed as someone who really was flying the flag every week for the AAF. I'm really disappointed in this ending, but I feel like there's a lot of parties that had fault to play. Somewhat, a little part goes to the NFL for kind of just sitting back and saying, let's see how this plays out.
Again, I agree with you. I think it's a very cold-blooded thing, but they're the top dog, and they're going to be the top dog. I don't care how successful the XFL becomes. I don't think it'll ever be the NFL. It just won't.
No.
Those things, it's just never going to happen.
The difference is, does Vince McMahon want to compete with the NFL for top-level football or be a developmental AAF league? That is the big question going forward.
That's what I am worried about with the XFL, because, as you know, I wrote an article why I think the XFL will be successful up on loudopinionated.com. Gotta get the plug. I am worried about that because, and I do think some aspects Vince learned a lesson the first time. But I'd like to think that. But if anybody that watches WWE programming, Vince never listens or learns from anything we tell him. Anyway.
Stupidity is doing the same thing.
Don't get me started on WrestleMania.
The same thing and expecting a different result.
Right. So I do think Vince will be a little bit smarter here, but I also fear because his ego is huge. And it seems way too much of history repeating itself with Donald Trump and the USFL. That is what always is lurking in the back of my mind.
You're totally right. The USFL needs to be the cautionary tale of how you interact with the NFL. This is not you trying to compete equally. They are the top dog. They are more in charge than any other sports league in the world, probably, for what they control. And if Vince tries to compete for top level talent and does the whole, you can come here after your sophomore year of college, and tries to pay big money to stars like Trevor Lawrence and other guys coming out of college.
Do the Herschel Walker thing.
you are traveling the USFL path. And that will probably and abjectly fail.
I think what I think should happen. Now, this is a Paul Rubidoux crazy idea here.
Yes.
I say the XFL absorbs the AAF. That way we have a 16-team league. You can disperse a little bit so it doesn't have to be XFL versus AAF, but I think absorb those teams, make it a 16-team league. Now, I know that's going to be more money than what they've already tried to do, because they rolled out like $500 million for the XFL. Roll out a little bit more money, Vince. You're making all this WWE money. Roll some money out. And I say get those teams and have a 16-team league. And that is insane. I get that. But I think that would actually show the NFL that they are serious about being a developmental league. Make the NFL know that, hey, we're going to take these teams, we're going to bring them in, but we're not trying to impose on what you're doing.
Right. That's what needs to happen. Is the XFL needs to make it very clear what their intentions are. Because if they don't, the NFL is going to pop the "what are we" question. And then if it comes to direct,
I love the metaphor.
I'm all about the broken relationship metaphors as I'm recently engaged.
Even congratulations, by the way. We didn't even talk about that in the last show.
Thank you.
Real quick, you do that all the time, because you mentioned we did that in Anthony Davis too, where we said that he was a jilted lover.
It's, I have a lot of experience and metaphors available.
So what's gonna happen when XFL pops the question? Or no, they don't pop the question, but they have that conversation. Like, what are we? Are we friends? Are we dating? What do you think's gonna happen?
Well, to keep the analogy moving here,
Yeah, we're rolling with it.
If the XFL says that they are if they make it clear they are in direct competition, the NFL will crush them. Like Mean Girls, no holds barred, crush them. They will do everything that they can.
Mhm.
They'll steal all of the ideas just like they did before. Like the AAF, it was really cool watching dual spider cams at the stadium because that's how they get those like in huddle videos. And the game moved a lot faster. The refs' jerseys were horrible. They won't take that. But there will be things adopted from the AAF,
Sure.
I believe.
Well, I think especially from the XFL, because the XFL, when they launched, had said they are working on ways to make the game safer, faster,
I want to know if they'll have kickoffs.
and better. So I think they're going to take the AAF's idea to make it, because, dude, the games were a breeze for the AAF.
I didn't feel the whole no kickoff thing. I didn't feel it impacted the game at all.
And I didn't miss extra points, man. I did not miss extra points
I
either.
like the 2-point thing, and you still have an onside scenario where you can do the 4th and 10.
I think I would keep the onside kick, to be honest with you.
Well, then you're keeping the kicking for just
Yeah,
one
and I
thing.
know, I understand
And
that you can't
it's
do
still a high contact play.
right. You can't do that. I understand that. I do. I think I would miss the onside kick a little bit. And yes, kick returns are exciting and punt returns are exciting.
But 4th
But-
and 10 will be completed more than an onside recovery will be completed,
Yeah,
in my
you
opinion.
get a better chance.
Mm-hmm.
I hope if the XFL is smart, they'll take the AAF's ideas and they will incorporate them.
And they'll be in a few AAF cities. San Antonio was an incredible success.
All the more reason to absorb them. And I know it sounds crazy to make a 16-team like super alternative league, but that's the only way it's going to work. And another pitch I have for you: make the season later. Now, I know when you say, "Oh, this could be a developmental league, you want to get these players," I understand that you worry about injury. But I think what hurts the AAF is its season is so short. It just started, it seems like, in February, and it's already now it's over for financial reasons. But we would have been only like two or 3
weeks from the playoffs.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So I hear you. Now I'm Vince McMahon again,
Uh-huh.
and you just came to me as the AF with this proposal. Now, what I would say is, I don't think I want all your teams. I don't think I saw enough from certain places. But here's what I want.
Okay.
I will absorb you for this amount of money, and at like basically a discount. You will dissolve these teams and keep all of your player pool to increase your talent. But I want San Antonio, I want San Diego, I want Birmingham and Orlando. I want those 4 franchises moved into my league and get rid of the rest. That's what I would do.
Mr. McMahon, if I may. Jake Williams, Loud Sports. I like this idea. I agree with you.
That's what the NBA did to the ABA. They said, we're going to
Yes.
buy your whole league, and we're only taking these 4 teams.
And I agree with you. And as long as we agree that Orlando and Tampa have to be a divisional rivalry, and Dallas and San Antonio have to be a divisional rivalry.
Probably, yeah.
Got to make
mean,
that a thing.
yeah.
Because that would be perfect.
Well, it would be a natural rival right off the bat.
I mean, yeah. I mean, look at, you drive on the interstate, you go to either stadium.
right?
They're not that far from each other.
So we'll see. I wouldn't be surprised if some of the AAF cities, maybe not teams as we know them.
I think if I agree, they might keep the cities. I don't know if they keep the. I think I would keep the Apollos because it's a great name. It's unique.
Simon was saying how he thought it was horrible today.
I love it. I love the Apollos. Everything about them.
But there were some winners from a fan base and team standpoint.
Real quick, because are we done talking about the AAF, or do you want to?
No, that's about it. We'll see moving forward. I think the XFL is going to take some things from the AAF.
And now I got to do this because I feel like our friendship wouldn't be the same if I didn't do this.
Don't.
You were wrong. First of all, the AAF was not a success. You were wrong.
Okay.
And secondly, take aim. They had the best record. They are the AAF champions. They would have beaten the Hot Shots. You know it. Get over it.
Okay, first off, I will say that I was wrong about the AAF being a success, But I would
That was
say-
not your fault. I don't think it was because of what's
No, I
on the
would
field.
say that it was presented very incorrectly. We were misled, and I stand by what I say that if the AAF and XFL had started at the same time, I think the AAF would have succeeded in getting the NFL's approval because they were so upfront with, we want to be your development league. And if Vince McMahon says, no, we're competing and we're going to try to get college sophomores, then the NFL backs the AAF without a second thought.
Yeah.
And so I was wrong about the AAF. I'm really sad about it. But we'll see how the XFL goes. And this makes me more I believe that the XFL will be more of a success because of this.